What's up, everybody? I have a light off. That's why it's so dark in here. It might be a second before anybody's actually in here because we just decided to go live last minute after some of the fireworks at the very end of day one of Charlie Adelson's trial, where Wendy Adelson testifies against him. So what I wanted to do, it's going to be a little bit backwards. I already prepared a video breaking down the opening statements and the first couple witnesses, but I just couldn't let the day go by without talking about Wendy Adelson, who testified against Catherine Magbanua and today testified as a state witness against her own brother. But was it really against? We're going to talk about that. That's what I'm going to break down in the focus of this video. And then we're going to automatically redirect you into the day one video we had prepared as a premiere that goes through opening statements, which was absolutely wild. The theory the defense is going with an opening statements and nobody knew about it. Not the prosecutor, not law enforcement, not even Wendy Adelson. And that's going to be part of the recap that we played today is Wendy Adelson talking about how this is the first time she's heard of it. So we talk about the first witness and some other stuff and the video that's coming second. It's a little bit weird. Hit that like button if you haven't already so people can come in and get their questions answered. I only have 15 or 20 minutes for this. So I'm going to jump right in. FBI agent who interviewed Wendy Adelson and did the big investigation testified, talks about how the Adelson family talked about bribing Dan Markell to try to take the kids, went through the investigation, how they connected the cars to the triggermen and connected the triggermen to the Adelsons. A lot of that is going to be in the next video. If you want to check that out, talking about opening statements. The motive was relocation of the kids to South Florida. And this is all about why the Adelson family would want to take out Dan Markell. If you don't know about this trial, check out the video that's going to drop at 6:25 tonight, and we'll give the full background of everything. And you'll know all the facts of this case. So they discuss an insurance policy on direct exam, but on cross, we actually found out that Dan Markell's sister is the beneficiary of the insurance policy, and Wendy Adelson only gets money from for the kids if she requests it and it is approved. And we also heard about how the Adelson family consulted with a lawyer to make sure the $1 million offer was actually legal. And they talked about how on cross that Markell actually asked the Adelson family to babysit the kids and how he didn't, there wasn't this hate that's tried to be spewed back and forth, which I thought was interesting. And once you hear how the opening statement of the defense goes, this question is going to hit a lot harder. He said, in your experience, Mr. FBI agent, do hitmen get paid over time or all at once? The FBI agent's like, well, in none of the cases that I've worked have they ever been paid over time. Like, what about extortion cases? Do they get paid over time? And he said, usually they do. And again, wait till you hear the defense's opening statement to hear how hard that hits. On redirect, though, a great point made by the state that where did they end up after Dan Markell died? Where did the kids end up? Well, relocating to South Florida. So basically the Adelsons got what they wanted here. But then Wendy Adelson herself testified. The question started out with some of their background, how her parents are rich. And a lot of it focused on the banana bread. The banana bread was brought up because basically it just proved her parents couldn't have done it. But we're going to get into specifically a lot of the statements she made to law enforcement right at the time, some of which she said maybe her family could be responsible for what happened to Dan Markell. So let's take a listen here to the back and forth between her and the prosecutor. I thought the prosecutor did a good job in some of the other cases. I thought she was a little sarcastic with Wendy Adelson myself. But let's hear some of this back and forth.
I told them many people, but are you asking about this particular moment?
This is like when the FBI asked her who could be responsible for what happened to Dan.
Right here?
You told them your family might be responsible.
Or potentially someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay. And of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. And that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
She asks her the ultimate question. This is what happened, right? You did this, right? Your parents did this, right? This was the plan, right? You said it could have been them, and you are right. You are right, aren't you? And she said, no, that is absolutely false. But she got the question in. Trial time, Tammy said she loves the sarcasm. Sometimes I like it, but sometimes it goes too far. Patches said it was perfectly sarcastic at times. Okay, all right. I hear you. I have a tendency to be sarcastic, so I'm a little sensitive to it if people don't like that. I know some jurors absolutely hate it, so sometimes it can be a risk. Okay, then something that if the jury was watching Charlie Adelson during this back and forth, they might not have liked him. The prosecutor's making the point that the Adelson parents called Dan Markel, the victim, a lot of nasty names. And Wendy Adelson has to admit that that's true, but watch Charlie Adelson's face.
Definitely.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole? Divorce?
I don't remember that.
Do you know if it ever happened?
I don't think it happened. I don't remember it.
Was the prospect of that upsetting to your mom?
I don't think so. I don't remember it, so I don't remember talking with her about it or.
Did your mom call Dan any disparaging names around this time frame?
Well, I just read them in the emails, but I
Okay.
don't remember them independently.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole?
Yes.
A narcissist?
Yes.
A bully?
Yes.
Religious zealot?
Yes.
Bastard?
That I don't remember.
Page 5.
Okay.
He literally starts laughing and tries to hold his name. And now this is a guy that's dead. And the father of his nephews and his wife's ex. I don't know what could make me laugh if that was happening. Right? I don't know what could make me laugh. And the fact that he's laughing, this isn't like, he beat him up outside the mall or something like that.
Is it page 5 from the first email?
Yes, if you'll just go through by the physical pages.
Oh, it gets worse than a smirk. Just wait.
I see. Yes.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Yes.
Fucker?
Yes.
He
But
literally
all the
can't
filings
control
made on your behalf by
how much he's laughing about it. I don't think that bodes well for him, in my opinion. I don't think that bodes well for him. So they continue discussing a lot. There's a ton of ugly divorce filings where they said horrible things about each other. I think those have little to no relevance, in my opinion. The motive of relocation, fine. Wendy kind of denies that. But, them saying nasty things about each other or wanting to hold each other in contempt or saying he didn't pay what he was supposed to because of the marital agreement, that to me didn't hold a lot of weight. But then we get to another accusation where this prosecutor was not afraid to say, your family did this, right, to see how Wendy Adelson would react. And let's take a look at how that exchange went.
It's at the beach for an hour. Not too serious? No.
All right, so you mentioned you thought Whitney Kick was after Catherine Magbanua. What about June Umchinda? Do you know which one that is?
Today.
Would you agree that was no, ma'am? You're one of your brother's girlfriends, June Umchinda. Do you know her?
All right, here we
I
go.
met someone named June.
Okay, and would you agree that was also after Catherine Magbanua?
Yes, that would have been after.
When did you learn that Catherine Magbanua was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told.
So that line you just heard is some fireworks and stuff nobody really knew. And again, that's going to be a huge portion of the video that's going to drop in about 15 minutes about the defense's wild opening statement. But I think the prosecutor did a pretty good job saying, oh, you just found out about it today too, huh? As if to look to the jury, kind of like the Murdoch stuff, when you come up with some new theory that nobody's ever heard about, even the people on the know on the inside. But Wendy Adelson said her lawyer advised her not to speak to her own family about this case. So what does that tell you? A lot of bad things lining up for the Adelson family, but she says today's the first time I heard about it as well.
Told you?
No.
You testified in Catherine Magbanua's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted
She was convicted, yes.
of murder,
Yes, of murder.
of murdering Dan Markel,
Of murdering my children's father, yes.
a crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Okay. You have no knowledge of it.
I have no knowledge.
In all the years this has been pending,
In all of the years this has been pending,
your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know.
I did not know.
Seems very implausible. Very implausible. More on that when we get to the opening statements.
Do you know why Catherine McBanois was on the payroll at the Adelson Institute?
I believe that she worked there.
What did
And we can skip that part. So yeah, she doesn't really work there. But that's, again, we'll discuss that more later. She disagrees that there was any financial benefit to her parent or to her kids after Dan died. The TV repairman, the day that Dan died, he was at her house, said she was really upset. This is before she even knew he died. She said she wasn't, or she didn't really remember why. They asked why she changed the kids' names from Markel to Adelson. She said because the Markel name was everywhere on the news. So what about the Adelson name? She said it wasn't at the time, but now it is. So if I was prosecutor, I may have asked one more question. Why didn't you change it back? Because now the Adelson name is much worse than the Markel name, but she didn't quite go there. And again, she asks the ultimate question. Did you and your family commit this crime? Did you do this to create plausible deniability? The first person you said that could have committed this crime was your brother. Isn't it true? And she says, no, I don't think that's true. And she goes to impeach her yet again with the statement to the FBI. And from my opinion, the prosecutor really steps in it. And it's right at the end of her direct examination. So to me, I thought she got some really good points across with Wendy Adelson, but this is where some of the fireworks are. And I really thought it was a poor ending for the prosecutor in discussing this with Wendy Adelson. Let me jump ahead here to it.
this is going to be tab 1, 5 through 15. Do you have
If I hadn't divorced,
All right, here we
a
go.
suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. The first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25.
So she's going to look into it. It's one of the other things, and I know she's already, had her on the stand on a couple other trials, but Wendy Adelson is no dummy. Valedictorian, full ride scholarship to college and law school. So she's no dummy. You're not really going to trip her up too much. Now, does she come off a little off-putting? Are people not going to like her personality, the way that she, testifies? Maybe, but you're not really going to trip her up. And unfortunately for the prosecutor, it went poorly here at the end because she says, yes, you did say that Charlie did it. He was the main suspect or whatever, first one that popped into your head. Let's read lines 5 through whatever. Well, let's read them. And again, it does not go well.
Not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1, 25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say, no, he would never.
The problem with this is now the jury may question every time the prosecutor impeaches a witness throughout the rest of the trial if they don't actually read it. Because she says, you said your brother did it right at the beginning of the interview, not 5 hours in, right? And she says, well, right here in black and white, it says, I specifically say he would never do it. They keep battling a little here, but it doesn't really get better for the prosecutor, in my opinion. This is a big flub and an unfortunate one if you're the prosecution, because you have a strong case. You have a lot of circumstantial evidence that is pointing directly to Charlie Adelson. It just makes sense and is logical. So you can't have big missteps like this on when you have motive and you even have his sister thinks that he did it or threw him out. They already made that point, in my opinion. throughout this direct examination. This is like her circling back because I think she thought she had a really strong ending here and it was going to reiterate an important point that she had already made, but I think it did not go well.
Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that, like, he knew that Danny always treated me badly, and it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman, and it was cheaper to get you this TV, so instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a
Prosecutor admits you did say you wouldn't do it, but you said all that stuff first, right?
million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you, what good does it serve? You say, I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
And you can tell she starts to get visibly worked up here, Wendy Adelson. And it's got to be emotional. It's got to be really hard. But this exchange here at the end is a passionate battle. And maybe I'll slow it down just so we can get the actual feeling behind it. And I'll back it up a little bit.
Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too.
And again,
You didn't
right there,
wanna-
they are referencing the opening statement, which is a brand new theory that nobody's ever heard. That sounds like it's straight out of a mafia movie. So again, 6:25 in about 7 minutes, we're going to premiere that. You're going to redirect automatically into that, and I'm going to go in depth. But I wanted to hit this because I didn't hit this in the video that we're about to premiere.
Held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says, regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I
Different
say.
now, isn't it?
No, it's not different.
I mean, I don't know what the prosecutor thinks that says. It says Wendy Adelson does not think it's her family. I think she's trying to make the argument that she doesn't think her family should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, which is fine. That's an argument you can make, but reading it that way, what Wendy Adelson actually is saying, in my mind, listening to the transcript is, and I didn't watch all of the other trials. I've seen bits and pieces of them. I know some of you guys have watched all of them. This is the one I'm watching. So, one second. This is the one I'm watching. So for her to say that it doesn't say something that it says is not good for them, in my opinion.
Different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
So that's what she ended on. It's different today, right? After she misread it. And it's like, no, it's not different today. And then she ends it and sits down. Cross was, some cupcake softballs, basically his witness. The relocation wasn't a big deal for you. Dan did post his so there was a part on direct where Dan left Wendy a message saying he would be at the gym at 9:15 to 10:30. The hitman followed him there, then followed him to his house before they did the deed. And on Cross here, Wendy says, well, Dan actually posted his schedule all over the place, including Facebook. So she did look shaken up afterwards. I agree. All right, let me get to a few questions here before we go, because we got about 4 minutes before the redirect. Nicholas, it is apparent the prosecution is after the Adelsons as a family. Number 2, mistake to let the defense finish the day. I agree. 3, contradictory statements about the brother is damning. I agree. I agree with all of this. Barbara G. Peter, how do you think the prosecutor got that last part so wrong? Lawyers get used to witnesses just saying yes, or after you impeach them a couple times, just like agreeing with you or saying, if that's what you say, the transcript says. And sometimes witnesses do that and lawyers get away with it. But man, when you step in it like this, it is not good. Lady Law Sandra, Peter, really, you live? I'm over here watching it on another channel. Well, I wasn't planning on going live. And again, my actual pre-recorded video that is wild with these opening statements, going in depth on the opening statements and the overview of this case. Stick around, please check it out. You're going to be automatically redirected to it, but I want to know what you think about all of the statements that were made, especially by the defense in opening. Jacques Swag gifted 5 memberships. That's awesome. I see a bunch of people getting those gifted memberships. And Azam, thank you for the super sticker. I'm glad you could jump in here. All right. So yes, everybody hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on whatever you need to turn on for the redirect, because that's about to happen. It seems rehearsed. Yeah. And she's testified a bunch of times, so that's probably part of the reason. But we'll see. A reminder, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., bright and early, we're going to be doing the Koberger hearing. As long as the video comes out in time, we'll watch the whole thing and react to it together. Friday morning, coffee live. We're going to do that together. You're going to be redirected here. Welcome to all the new members. I go in depth here into day 1 of this trial. I hit the first couple witnesses and opening statements. I did not hit Wendy Adelson during that video, so I wanted to come over and do it now. Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern, Katie. I'm sorry, 8 a.m. Eastern. Gosh, so much going on at the end of a very busy Thursday. Number 1, in 2 minutes, you're going to be redirected to the Dan Markell opening statements of day 1. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., live, going through the Koberger hearing, initial reactions together. I know it is early for people on different coasts, so you can always be part of the rewatch if you want. But I'm out of here now. I love you all. Thank you for joining on this last second live with no real preparation or thought or planning for it. So I'm glad you guys came to hang out. Check out the rest of the video. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button when you leave here and when you get to the new video. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who might be interested here on YouTube. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, at Lawyer You Know. But on Instagram, we are still at Tragos Law. So look us up on there. And don't forget to listen to the Lawyer You Know podcast, available on all major podcast platforms. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us, lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. Of course, all of these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, the Lawyer You Know.